Welcome back to another episode of A Better Way of Earning. I am your host, Dr. Michelle S. Thomas. Let's clear something up right away. You already have a brand. Even if you've never owned a business, even if you've never posted professionally, even if you've never thought about it at all, you still have one because your brand is not what you say it is what people experience, interpret, and remember about you. And in today's digital world, that experience often happens before you ever speak. Let's clear up what your brand really is in today's time. Most people think branding means logos, colors, business identity. But your personal brand is much simpler, yet more powerful. It is how you communicate, how you show up, what you share, what you engage with, and what others can find out about you. It is your digital first impression at scale. And here's the reality of a digital presence. If we're speaking about something honestly, many professionals believe that my personal social media has nothing to do with my professional life. But in reality, companies, recruiters, and decision makers often look beyond your resume. They search your name, your profiles, your activity, not always to judge, but to understand who you are at the core and who they are bringing into their company. And what they're picking up on is not just what you post, it is the tone, the consistency, and the patterns behind it. This is not about trying to teach anybody about being perfect, about being filtered, or removing your personality. This segment is about alignment because the goal isn't to become someone else. It is to make sure what people see accurately reflects who you are and how you want to be perceived. Let's dive into what I call the story audit exercise. And making this all practical, let's look at it this way. If someone viewed your profiles today without any context, what story would they walk away with? Here are some steps and some tools to utilize to help you evaluate that very question. Let's dive into content review. Again, this is about you, your personal brand. So scroll past your last 10 or 15 posts and ask, what tone do I consistently show? What topics appear most? And what emotions come through within those posts? Second, let's evaluate your engagement behavior. Here, you look at what type of topics or situations do you mostly comment on? What do you share? And what do you react to? Because engagement is also a line of communication. And then three, your profile positioning. And we all, my friends, should be doing this at least once a year. Review your bio or the information that you put out there on your personal page. Is it up to date? Is it still reflecting the person that you are? Because as we have discussed in so many previous episodes, your life is a journey. There are things that evolve and change and grow, including our stance on things, our opinions on things, things that interest us. So if you create a habit of reviewing your bio, then you know that you're not at least standing upon information that no longer or doesn't properly reflect the person that you are now. Review your bio, review your descriptions and your headlines. So these are, and when I say headlines, it's the post that you're putting out there. What were the captions? What was the anchor or the hook to bring people in to read further into it? Review and see if these are still the tone and the content that still interests you. Because your personal profile should reflect what you're personally interested in today. Now, after you review your bio, your descriptions, your headlines, etc., your photos, do they reflect who you are today? Or do they reflect who you were years ago? And some of us are guilty of, we haven't visited our profile pages from that aspect since we created the profile. So there's no judgment here. It's just what happens. We get ingrained and life moves on and we get caught up in things. And oftentimes we understand reevaluation in our professional lives. But we also need to build in tools to remind us to reevaluate ourselves in our personal lives. That's personal relationships. Those are personal friendships. Those are connections. Maybe at the time when you built your profile, there was something that was really important and powerful and a hot button for you right then. But through time, through learning more, through just growth in yourself, maybe that topic, you see it somewhere differently. So again, it's ensuring that the personal brand that is out there and accessible to anyone is accurately reflecting the person that you are today. I know somebody's listening to this and it's like, well, damn, what do you want me to do? Scrap my whole profile? Absolutely not. It takes too long. And it's not about trying to again become somebody else or change who you are. It's about upgrading your personal brand. It's about ensuring that people who are following you, who are connected with you, still know and understand the person that you are today. Here's the part that people need: not start over when you're upgrading, but refine your profile intentionally. And here's the steps to do that. Step one, clarify what you want to be known for. And again, for a lot of people, when we started out in social media, first of all, most people didn't understand what it was going to turn into. If you built your profiles back in the beginning of these social accounts, you didn't know what it was going to turn into. And you also wasn't made aware that this was going to become a tool for research on you. The information that you input to build that account may have just been very general, maybe even incomplete, or you may have grown in your awareness, your experience, your professionalism, and some of that information needs to no longer be relevant. Some people put their personal phone numbers out there when they first built their accounts because they were looking to connect with friends. Well, now their profile has now moved into a more professional tone of it, and you may not want everybody to have your telephone number. Is that something that you continue to do? But again, without us reflecting and evaluating continuously what's happening on these profile pages, there may be information out there that is inaccurate. Maybe you've changed your email address. Maybe you've updated some things, but you never went back into your profile page to make sure that all of this was relevant. So, step one, clarify who or what you want to be known for. The person 10 years ago may have a different belief system, or you may be more ingrained into the original belief system. Doesn't mean that you have to change. You just want to make sure that it speaks volumes of who you are. So ask yourself, if someone had to describe me professionally in one sentence, what would I want that to be? Yes, we are talking about your personal pages and your personal profiles. But also remember, in this day and time, your personal information now bleeds into your professional careers and jobs because this is the access point that a lot of people are researching to find out what kind of person you are. Step two, adjust, don't erase. You don't need to delete your whole life. That's not what I'm asking you to do. But what you can do is add more balance, introduce some thoughtful insights, share perspectives tied to your skills. So now taking this personal profile and interjecting some of the things that you're learning, some of the things that you are connecting with that is different than how you started it is okay. You're now guiding people into understanding the 360 version of you. Because oftentimes our professional pages only showcase one side of us. It's either the family side, it is the political side, the economic side, etc. But how powerful would it be that you are able to give people personally and professionally a full insight about the person that you are? Because as human beings, we are not one dimensional. We are complicated. We have feelings. We have strong feelings about things. But it's for you to navigate what, as the question was, how would you want someone to describe you? And that description, right, wrong, or indifferent, comes directly from the information that they have access to. Step three, find more value based content. And this can be done simply by sharing lessons learned, as I just previously discussed, commenting on industry topics, offering perspective on your work. You don't need to post anything daily, but you do need to now ensure that you're posting intentionally. There are so many people that um, come back after they receive this advice and they're really blown away at the people who've known them like majority of their life that are now aware of new views, new skills, new expertise that never came up in regular conversation. This also helps in this economic instability because you may post something on your personal page that highlights a skill or highlights anything that you are now learning or you've mastered. And that, because you have such a vast number of personal connections, could very well bring new business into your world because you're allowing people to know more about who you are on both sides of the coin, personally and professionally. And step four, this is extremely important. And I will not sugarcoat this whatsoever. If you've never done it before, it is a task. So I'm telling you that ahead of time. It's something that takes planning and it takes awareness, but it also takes separating your emotions from your intent. And that step, my friends, is aligning your platforms. Your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your TikTok, your X, they don't need to be identical. However, they each should not feel like completely different people. Consistency builds trust across the platforms. And why, again, am I bringing this up? Because a lot of people are unaware of the story that you're telling because there are people that this is what they do. They search each platform, they try to find inconsistencies, they look at the different tones and the different variations across your platforms, and that to them feels false. Now, for you, the logic might have been you are catering to the platform. This is what is really popular on this site. This is what really goes over on this site. But find a way that there is a similarity of consistency of who you actually are across all platforms. And I'm going to tell you just from a personal standpoint, Michelle, just Michelle herself, I am the unpaid comedian in your life, right? I look at things and it just comes naturally. I have some sort of joke or comment or whatever about a lot of things. And because I know that that's a part of me, when I first started out, I couldn't figure out how to have that aspect, which adds to why a lot of people were attracted to me, why a lot of people come to get the advice or whatever, because it wasn't heavy, right? We could, in my words, this is my saying about to anyone who worked with me or worked for me, my rules were I am a open door, I am an open book, and when you come to me with a problem or something that's bothering you, we have these options. We can laugh it out, we can cry it out, we can cuss it out, we can do whatever needs to happen to ensure that when you walk away from here, that bottleneck of emotions that you walked into the space in, you no longer feel that. And that's just who I am. I'm not that person that, I'm all buttoned up and refined. I have so many different sides of me, who I am just as a person, um, that for me in the beginning, it was almost terrifying because I didn't know how to present myself. Only because, not because I didn't know who I was, but it was because I had been conditioned to believe that my personal life and my professional life had to be completely segregated from each other. Nothing could bleed over. And then throughout experience, throughout growth, throughout learning more, I learned that who I am as a person directly impacts who I am as a professional. And so if I am lighthearted, if I am discussing a topic or whatever, and it organically, there's a joke or whatever that comes in there, I no longer over evaluate that. Timing and place, it happened. Um, it's never to offend anybody, it's never to agitate anybody. It's just organic in the conversation. And I'm okay with that. But my audiences also understand that this is who I am. Even when I started this podcast, which is my second podcast, when I started this podcast, I said in the beginning, we're not always going to agree with everything, but what we can do is learn how to communicate, contradict, or debate with each other with human respect, and that's okay. For most people who listen to that, who never heard me before, that comment might have seemed odd. But for those who have followed me throughout my decade of doing this, they understand that I don't take things personal when you have pushback or feedback. I love feedback. I love hearing the other side because that's what helps me grow as a person, as a professional. The more that I learn, because we have to learn to step outside of our ecosystem. And so, again, my personal experience with this started out extremely stressed and stressful because I didn't want to get it wrong. I now have this conversation with you, my friends, because I want you to understand that there's no blueprint for this. All of this social platforms, all of this stuff, even though it's been around since mid 2000s or whatever, I think that's when Facebook started was 2008 or 9 or something like that. Even though it's been around that long, understanding how it works and what the intent is still evolving. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. If I give you advice on these things to do, it's all out of experience. It's all out of listening to hiring professionals and recruiters and understanding what companies are looking for now just to help. So I don't want you to sit down and look at this as a, SAT exam. It's not that. It is, what do you want your story to reflect? Who you are, what you do, what you stand for, what you believe in. It's just only beneficial to all of us to find the narrative of our own story. Because here's what is true: either you define what your story is, or someone else will. And that, my friends, you do not want. You do not want someone to take control of the narrative of who you are and the story that you tell. That's friends, family, spouses, partners, kids, everyone. And I'm not saying they're doing that intentionally, but everybody knows you from a version of who they were exposed to and when they knew you. So that's their version of the story. You are the only person that knows the full story of who you are. So why not tell it? As I talk about updating and making your story consistent across all platforms, I want to acknowledge something very important. Human bias exists. I'm just going to let you sit with that for a minute. Human bias, it exists. People form impressions quickly, and those impressions can influence decisions concisely or unconcisely. This isn't about agreeing with it, it's about being aware of it, because awareness gives you the ability to, again, control your narrative instead of leaving it open to interpretation. Better Way of Earning itself, the whole ecosystem, was created because my goal is to get us to stop being afraid of understanding that bias is out there. We all have biases. And it's not all about race, it's not all about age or classification. There are just natural biases from where you grew up, what you were taught, what you learned. There's biases everywhere. But that doesn't make us all bad people because we have biases. What segregates all of us and what sets us all on these pathways of misunderstanding or attacking other people's character or color or look or mental stability, etc. What sets us on that pathway is being unaware. Being unaware allows you to take your biases and amplify it into categories, situations, and conversations that are not applicable to that person or said bias. And the more that we have these conversations, comfortable or uncomfortable, it begins to at least open up dialogue of finding out that we might have more in common with each other than we don't have. We're all human beings. We all have flaws. We all have opinions. We all have biases. And because we are all starting from such a similar standpoint, why not open up communication and learn from each other? We don't always have to agree. You may not always agree with the person next to you. Even in relationships, we don't always agree. But the most successful relationships finds commonality in things that we can agree upon so that we can coexist together. And that is what is going to begin to reshape and change this world from all of the violence and the hatred and the things that are being amplified right now through paid news and advertising and marketing, etc. There are people out here that don't want us to learn more about each other. There are people, there are businesses, there are industries, there is entities that actually profit from our hatred of each other. Let's not let them win with that. We're better than that. I have these conversations because I want to make sure that we're at least trying to better understand what's happening to us, around us, and for us so that we can be at least armed with enough information to decide for ourselves what we want to do with it. This right here is exactly why platforms like Ascent are being built differently. It allows each person to be seen through not only just your name or your experiences, but the skills taught and innate, experiences, and structural insights that we all have so preciously inside of us. We're moving away, or we need to move away from just assumptions based on appearance or fragmented information, because that doesn't serve any of us well. As a reflection, ask yourself, is my current digital presence helping people understand my value or leaving it open to assumption? In closing for this episode, your brand is not something you create once. It is something you express consistently through your words, your actions, through your presence. And in today's world, that presence often exists long before any conversation begins. And as we close today's conversation, remember this: earning is not just about what you can do, it's about how clearly others can see and understand what you bring. And when your presence aligns with your value, you don't have to chase opportunities. They begin to recognize you. And if you're ready to refine that alignment, continue the journey with us across a better way of earning ecosystem through the podcast, deeper insights with the Job Hunt Chronicles, and by building your presence within Ascent Global Marketplace. Because the future of hiring isn't applying, it's being discovered. Until next time, stay intentional, stay authentic, and always remain in ownership of your choice.